job.
So, welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the break. I'm going to start off in a bit of a strange place just to answer a question from the last time we met, and then we'll go back to the CRM where we were at before. But previously, we had some questions about editing brands, and Zach and I just talked a little bit about how you might be able to get to this screen, but I just wanted to go over this screen really briefly so that you've seen it before if you have to come in here and actually edit a brand. So this is the brand maintenance screen. The maintenance screens look a little bit different than your typical CRM screens. They do have this navigation tree over here, what we call nodes. And then what you're editing is in this area over here. So if you have to come into the screen, I wanted you to have seen it before. What we've done is pulled up an advertiser. I've pulled up a specific brand, and then we can actually tie things to that brand, like an agency or a print advertiser. We can also add a new brand from here. Okay? You can assign reps to a brand and things like that. But I wanted to show you this screen, so if you have access to it, which Zach's going to be talking about, that you've seen it at least, and you don't feel like you're in quite a stranger place. So this is brand maintenance, and Zach will talk a little bit more about that later, hopefully. So
just quickly, how did you get to that screen?
So that's what we're going to talk about. Brand maintenance is actually in the advertising module, which you guys don't have access to. So at the beginning of this call, I talked to Zach about a way to create a custom link for you guys. And if this is something they're going to give you access to, then he'll show you how to get to the custom link. Okay?
Yeah, this
so
is Sherry. This is Sherry.
Right.
I don't think that they're going to have access to any of this because there's a lot of confusion with the brand thing.
Yes. Thank you, Sherry. I was just going to say that.
Great. Beautiful. Beautiful. So we're going to go back into the CRM. And the tab we're going to go over pretty quickly is this Opportunities tab. There's not a ton in here I want to go into in real depth because as it sounds like as we talk about it, you may not be using Opportunities that often. But I do want to show you a few of these. First thing is My Opportunities. This is essentially going to be the same thing you saw on your CRM home screen. It's a list of opportunities you have out right now, but it's just separated them by the stage or description in which they're categorized in. So if you're trying to move some proposals on, you may actually go in and click your identified proposals, and today you're trying to advance those all to a negotiated state. So that's what I see a lot of people using this for is I want to go in and start advancing these opportunities that I've created down the road so that they can actually become proposals. So you can use this screen to come in here and work opportunities. Okay?
And I can create more stages if that's needed. Like what's created
Yes.
right now is based off something I believe Rick sent me from MSG.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pretty standard right now. So if you guys find this useful and start using it more, you may find new stages are needed. The next thing is opportunity detail. And what opportunity detail is going to do is simply separate these out, not by what status they're in, but just in a list. And then at the top here, we've got some ability to sort these opportunities. So it's possible I've decided to come in and work my opportunities in a different way. This is kind of the how do I want to work my opportunities today screen. I can sort it by stages. I can sort it by publications or websites. I can choose a date range that I want to work it by. So this was the option of we're not sure what else you might want to do with it, so we gave you the ability to do whatever you'd like. Again, this is one of those screens where it may just be helpful to come to this screen to be able to sort these. If I sort by probability, I'm now looking at them in a list, but I'm also seeing them in probability order. I'm now looking at them from most likely to least likely, and if I click it again, we're back to the normal sort. So again, this is the kind of how do I want to work my opportunities today, and we kind of gave you a lot of options there. Opportunities by rep. This is blank right now. The reps that I have assigned to me don't have opportunities out right now, it doesn't look like. But again, this is going to be a visual representation of your opportunities, a lot like your rep screen is. And then you've got enter a new opportunity. That's where we started this afternoon. The next thing below this gray line is going to be things related to proposals. So the first thing we've got here is a proposal inquiry search. And the second thing you see here is enter or update a proposal. If you select proposal inquiry search, any proposals you pull up are going to be view only. The understanding is here you're inquiring about them. You've got some sort material here. If you're wanting to actually update the proposal, I would suggest using this enter/update. And you've got the same idea. You can still go out and search for a proposal, but this time, when you select the proposal, it's going to pull up in a screen where the proposal is now editable. So this proposal inquiry search is really the idea of I just need to view these proposals. And the reason that's there is there are some customers where people need to be able to look at proposals but not actually update them. And so for security purposes, we can give them this option and not the one below it. This can be a little frustrating if you've decided to go into a proposal and now you want to update it and you're in inquiry and not in update. So I do like to warn people, I recommend using this button the majority of the time. Enter and update a proposal. And then once you're inside of this screen, you can actually go in and search for a proposal. Okay? One of the things that was mentioned earlier is when we go into these screens, they're blank. They're not populated with an advertiser. But it was mentioned that if we're actually inside of an advertiser record and we choose to create an opportunity or create a proposal, it will actually populate with this advertiser's data. So we skipped a lot of these quick links when we talked the last time because they really all affect orders, and we hadn't talked about orders yet. But now that we're back in this CRM home screen, I wanted to show you that down here in this quick links tab are actually links to create a new order, create a new campaign, which shouldn't be there for you guys, create a new opportunity, and create a new proposal. If I click create a new opportunity from this screen, you'll see that the header is mostly already filled out for me now. So rather than having to look up that client like we did before, we were speaking to the client, we wanted to create an opportunity, and now this is filled out for me. Really, all I would have to do to fill out this opportunity now is put in a date, an amount, a brief description, and the opportunity's been created. So you can see that while an opportunity may feel like an extra step at some point in time, if this becomes useful to you, it's actually really easy to get these in. Okay? Opportunity, dates. If you see there, I did get a warning that says I've tried to pick a date that's already passed, but I can go forward with it. Dollar figure, short description. Okay. The same thing goes for enter a new proposal from this screen. Rather than going into a blank proposal, if you're inside of a client's record, you can click create a new proposal and jump right into a proposal that's already filled out for your clients. Okay. We didn't talk about this down here, but there's also some quick links or other links. Most of the things that are found towards the bottom of this screen or in these tabs is actually found here as well under other links. So we did try to make this, even though you can scroll down these long screens and find things, we did try to make some of the more regularly used options right here at the top, so that you don't have to do anything but come right here to this screen and navigate to what you need. Okay? So we went over quite a few reports the last time we met, but there were a couple of questions in reports in your session and also in the session the next day that led me to believe we might want to actually look at a few more reports that might be useful to you. So again, we're still in the CRM, and we're going to go to our advertising tab. In this advertising analysis tab, where we spent a lot of time on the last time we spoke. And there's a few reports down here at the bottom that I didn't mention last time. So we're going to go over these two reports at the bottom. The first one is a product group analysis. So there was a lot of questions the last time we spoke about, can I see my print and digital orders together? And most of the screens I showed you, we'll click over to one just so we can have something to look at. Most of the screens I showed you were separated up where print is in one category and digital is in the other. Now, to find out what your sales for both were, it was as easy as adding up those two numbers. But if for some reason that's not really what you're looking to see, and you really do need to see them in one report, and you want to see them all at once, maybe in a graph form like this, as long as those products are in a group, we could use this product group analysis and view all of our orders or all of our sales for both digital and print products all in one report. Now, I'm not sure if you have any groups that are actually set up as both at this moment. But if you did have a combined group, if we have this wood web group and this wood print group, if there was a third group that was both of those combined, then we could actually use this report and report off of both our web and print products at the same time. Okay, so there's not a combined report. I'm going to flip over this tab. This is the sales rep home screen we talked a lot about, this advertising rep summary page. And on these pages, this is where we were getting the questions of, these are kind of your print products and these are your digital products. Is there a combined report? And so as I did some research on this, these are typically separated. However, this product group analysis might be something that you guys could do that would allow you to report off both of yours together. So it's really easy, much like the other reports we've looked at. There's a drop down of groups this time, not by publication. These are only going to be your product groups. And then it's going to want to know what issue you want to start at. And from that issue, it's going to reach out and grab the 12 issues in front of it. Going to display one of our nice graphs here, showing us the revenue over time. We're going to be able to export that just like we saw before. And then we've got this graph, which is separating out our revenue by publication. Down here, our publications are separate line items. And of course, the total is at the end. Again, if for some reason this isn't giving me everything, or I want to be able to sort into these, we can export this report out. So this is the simpler report I wanted to show you. The next report is what we call a pinpoint analysis. Now, a pinpoint analysis is based off of a template. So I would recommend, if there's a report you're looking to create, that maybe you get someone involved who's a power user, or maybe Zach or someone like that, involved in creating a template that then you could come in and run a lot. So today, what I'm going to run is what we call an issue comparison. And this is back to a question from last week of wanting to be able to see what the difference in spending for an advertiser is in this issue as opposed to last year's issue. So the question that was asked was, there's a report in here that'll show me missing advertisers from last year's issue, but I actually want to know, is this advertiser spending less than they were last year? Are they spending more than they were last year? And how is that creating a difference? Maybe there's an advertiser that isn't spending. This report will also show you that. So what I wanted to do is show you, once we've got a report created, is how you would come in and run this report. So up here in this drop-down, you'll see there are some descriptions. These are the templates I'm talking about. Once a template is created, you can just come in here, select the template, apply the template to this description, and these headings are going to be what that template is made of. So I've applied it, and now you can see what I've got here is this issue 1, issue 2, and issue 3. So what I'm looking at doing in this report is I'm looking at the February issue from 2014, the February issue from 2013, and the February issue from 2012. I'm going to pull them up in a report next to each other so I can actually see the difference in an advertiser's spending over time. The first question I'm going to have to answer is, what do I want to select? In my case, what I want to select is a publication, and I'm actually going to select Modern Salon. Once I've got that data in, I can select Get Data, and down here, what it has done is it is taking the entire publication and put it into one number. Well, that may not be as useful to me to just see the difference in what that issue brought in year over year. But what may be useful to me is to select this line item and now drill down into it. When I click drill down into this line item, it's going to ask, what is the next thing you want to sort this data based on? In my case, what I'm interested in is the advertiser. So now it's going to break this data out by advertiser. And what I'm looking at in this report now is each advertiser that was in that issue and what their spending was this year versus last. So here we can see that the Andis company actually is spending the same amount this year as they did last, but a little bit less than they did 2 years ago. So I created this to answer one particular question that we were asked the last time we met, and I do believe it was in the second group, but I wanted to show you guys this as well, as I thought it may be of interest to you. However, this report is one of those reports where it's very flexible. So it is something where we could create different kinds of comparisons if you were interested in finding those things out. I believe you guys work in territories, so we could even look at a particular area's spending this year versus last year and see if we're above or below where we were. So I just created one comparison, but we could create a lot of different kinds of reports from this. I don't want to go into too much detail because this can get confusing, and I don't know that you guys will use it a ton, but I did want to at least show you how to run it, specifically for this issue comparison report that I've created. If you're curious as to what orders you're going to be able to see, this Securities tab at the top is going to actually show me what I have access to. So for you, you will probably only see information for your sales rep ID. You will only see information for the publications you have access to. Okay? If you were trying to find out in your initial setup what the publication code is you should be searching for, you could also find those under the Security tab. I wasn't sure what Modern Salons was. I looked it up over here. As it turned out, it was very easy. Okay? So this is an issue comparison report. Again, I know it was the other group that had requested it last week, but I did want to show it. Did want to show it to you guys and how to run that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is actually Informer, which is outside of Elan. I'm going to show you how to get to that, and we're going to do a kind of a brief overview of how to run some reports at Informer. But before we jump out of Elan, I wanted to see if you guys had come up with any other reports that you hadn't found in the system or anything that you wanted to run regularly that maybe you haven't found yet. I know that, as a sales rep, you might not be running that many reports for data, but if there's some kind of report where you want to see your orders or things about you that you haven't found yet in the system, we could certainly talk about that for a few minutes today. Any questions?
Are Laurel and Renee still on a call?
Yes.
Darn.
All right.
I know there were a bunch of concerns about reporting.
Well, I'd certainly like to address those. If you get an email or something, we can show you how to run just about anything. I know reporting is one of those things that's a lot of times a pressure point in a company is I want to be able to see my orders or I need to be able to get this data out. What I want to show you guys is I want to show you as much of this as I can with you remembering that you don't have to remember each and every single one of these reports. Really what I want you to do is take the ones you want, take the ones that are useful to you and use those, or if nothing else, at least remember that these other reports exist in case one day down the road someone says, I need you to start giving me this information. You can say, oh yeah, I remember that guy who talked forever, showed me a report like that. Send off an email and I can get back to you about what report that was. But at least that way you don't feel like, I'm not sure the system can do that. You know that it's in there and you might just not remember where it's at. And that's really important to me that you guys at least say, hey, I remember that's in there and I need to ask someone how to get that out. I never want you to feel like there's something in the system you can't get to or something that would help you in your sales process that you can't get. And it's really important to me when I talk to groups like this that you guys know that this is as powerful as you want it to be. Okay? So we won't spend too much time under this advertising analysis tab anymore. We're actually going to click back to our main menu. And on your main menu, if you have access to this, which I believe you should, you will see a little apple here on the screen. You will see a small apple on your screen, and this will actually lead you out to your Informer account. Okay? We're going to click your Informer account and wait for this to load a bit.
Does everybody see that when they're at the main menu?
All right, we'll go back to this. I'll close these out. Does everyone see this apple? Does anyone know?
Jim,
If for some reason you don't.
Jim, you there still?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Good.
Great. If for some reason you don't, just yell at Zach. I'm sure he'd be happy to hear that.
Yeah.
It should hop you right over into the account. If for some reason it doesn't and you stop at a login page, it is the exact same login you used to log into Elan. But it should just allow you right into it. Depending on what you're able to see, you may see a list of reports here that's a mile long. You may only see a few reports. We're not going to go over a lot of these reports today because a lot of them are very powerful accounting reports and things like that that you probably don't have access to. We're going to talk about some general navigation of Informer because it looks a lot different than Elan. Okay? So the first tab we've got here is Reports. And down this Reports tab, we can see that all of these reports are separated up into different areas. And one thing I really want to focus on today is this My Favorites section. If you find a report that you actually enjoy or that's helpful, I would recommend using this star next to the report. If I click this star, I've actually moved that star into My Favorites area, and if I uncheck it, I move it out, just like in the CRM. What that's going to allow you to do is when you come into this, you can click this My Favorites tab, and you're only going to see reports that are actually useful to you. Okay. The next thing we're going to see is this data sources tab. We're going to skip that. And then we're going to see this by tag. So the first time you come into the system, you won't have any favorite reports. So really this tag report is going to be what's most useful to you. The tag that I would recommend going into and looking over is this add tab. This is where reports that are going to be the most useful to you about orders, digital and print, are going to be found. If for some reason you're a person who runs report regularly, you may actually have your own tab. I can see that Connie has her own tab, and some other people like Sherry. Zach has his own tab way down here at the bottom. But if you're looking for new reports, I would click this Add tab, and the reports that are in this section are going to be related to orders and advertisers. Just like in the system, anywhere there's a heading, we can actually sort by these options. If I'm looking for a report that was created by a specific person in the company, I can sort by created by. It's going to sort these alphabetically so that I can find someone. If for some reason I know the title of the report I'm looking for, I could use my search bar up here, and it would try to limit the reports down by what I'm typing. Okay? I'm going to click back into this My Favorites tab because these are really the reports we're going to talk about today. We probably won't actually talk about all of them. So the first report we're going to look at is this advertiser orders. And you can see on any line of a report, there are a few things you can do with it. The first thing is you could just click the report. This is going to bring you into the report details and show you what the report's made of and also allow you to edit it. If you click Launch, it's going to launch the report in its current form and give you criteria that you need to enter. Details will give you any data that was left there the last time it was run. If it's never been executed, it's not going to give you that information. So we're going to jump right into we're going to jump right into one of these reports, this advertiser order report. I'm just going to click the heading. The first thing you're going to see is this report is locked, which is good. It means you can't change any of this data. Now, most of this data probably doesn't make a ton of sense. It's built by a report writer, and it's just listed out in a row, so it's not that useful. So this report template is really for people who are actually building reports. This next tab is actually the data tab, and this is exactly where that launch button would take you. If you were to click launch.
Sorry, Brandon. By the way, anyone who
go ahead.
wants to build their own report can build their own report. You all have access to it. It's just you determine who has access to your report. So if anyone did want to play around with it, feel free. Sorry, that's all. Take it.
Great. No, it's great. This data tab is actually going to be the tab you use to launch the data into the report. So in this case, what we're looking at here is an orders for an advertiser. So the questions that it's asking me are, what issue dates do I want? And what advertiser would I like to look up? So I am just going to select a couple of dates. Let's see. Actually, I may want to select an older date. And then down here, once I've got my data in, I want to launch the report. Okay. What it's done is it's actually pulled up all the orders for this advertiser for this period of time. So you can do that inside the system, but what you can't do, what we talked about a lot in the system, is you can't edit our reports. You can, however, edit reports in here. So if for some reason I don't like the way this report is laid out, and I would like to move the data that's in it, maybe all I really care about is this net amount, and I would like the net amount to be at the beginning of this report. I can simply grab a heading by clicking down on it and drag the heading to wherever I would like it to appear in the report. And now when I run this report, I will actually see this data here. Okay? I can also group data. So let's see. They all have the same. Here we go. So let's say I now want to see these orders by the issue they appear in. I'd like to group them by issue. If I grab this issue ID header, and all I'm doing is clicking down on it and dragging it, and drag this into this drag columns here to group area, it's actually just grouped the data up by the issues those orders appear in. If I click that issue, it's going to show me the orders that appear in that issue. If I close it, I'm going to close it. If I would like any one of these columns to total, I can click this aggregate option. It's going to show me all the fields I have available, and it's going to give me some options of what I want to see. If I wanted to total the net amount, would seem like the most useful item here, I simply click the box that meets the grid, net amount and total. You can see that it's already totaled it. I don't have to save. I just click out of the box, and now I've seen a total item. If I now open this, it's totaling each individual issue, and then the total of all issues at the bottom. If I looked at this and found there were now orders missing, and I went into Elan and actually added orders to this advertiser, and I wanted to put those into this report, I could simply refresh the data, and it would pull in all new data. It's important to remember this, because if you've run this report before and you come in to look at it, it is not going to automatically refresh the data. It is going to show you a snapshot of the data when you ran it last time. You do have to either rerun the report or refresh the data to actually pull in new data. Okay? You can group multiple things. We're going to go into a little bit different report that has some more data so I can show you why this might be useful. I'm just going to hop out here. Up the top here, you're about to see me click one of these. You'll see these are breadcrumbs. So it's showing me exactly what I've gone into. So if I ever just want to go back to one of the other places, I can use my breadcrumbs here. Okay? I'm going to run this advertiser orders by publication. You'll see the screen's exactly the same. When I click on the data tab, I've got a little bit different information. There's an additional field now that says, which publication do I want to look at? This is still a little bit too specific for what I want to show you. Just one second. Let's do this. Okay.
You know, I noticed that it was just print orders on that report.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Is there a similar report like the one that you were showing us previously that has everything all lumped into one, like print and online?
I don't think there's a combined report created in the system by default, but that is something that I believe we could create. So right now we're looking at internet campaigns by website. We're looking at the digital side. So if you wanted to try to create a report in here that combined both of them, that wasn't by group, I'm pretty sure that's something we could create.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. I will also mention there is, and Zach, this is really for you, there is what we call a combined report for digital and print, but it's in the advertising module, and it's really assumed that the people who would be running that are on the advertising side. So it is something that we could look at if it works for you guys. It is something we could look at giving them access to with possibly a custom link. But I didn't show it to you guys because it is kind of locked in the ad module. It's called a combined report. Okay?
We can take a look at that if that's something that could.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I just wanted to pull up some more orders so I could actually kind of give you guys a useful way to use some of these options. So what we're going to do now is just pull up a bunch of website orders, hopefully. I'm going to launch the report again. Uh-oh. I apologize. Try to be as familiar with your data as possible, but I may have
I think you needed to put in a website ID there.
Yeah, I was trying to just pull up as many as I could, give you guys an idea of how to sort by publication. Let's see,
Okay.
I'll find one. Let me grab a different report real quick. One that's created. All right. Great. So this is a publication issue report. And again, it's not important to remember all of these. I just wanted to show you kind of how this works. Okay, great. Bunch of orders here from several different publications, several different advertisers, several different issues. Okay? If I now wanted to start sorting these things by a publication, and then within that publication, I also wanted to sort by issue, I have now got it sorted by publication and then separately by issue. So I just wanted to show you that you can create as many sorts or as many groups as you'd like to, and then dig down into that data. Again, some of this may be this may be not something you run a ton if you're just looking to see your orders in an issue. But it can be useful to see all these things in a group. It can be useful to be able to sort these items or group them or see the aggregate totals. There is the idea of running some analytics based on the report you've just run, and you can chart the data you've just seen. Now, again, it's going to give you a lot of options down the side here, assuming you may want to see different information about this report than someone else does. All you have to do is check to sort by the information you want to see. I've chose to sort by advertiser name. So now it's separating up all the data I had by advertiser name, and it's counting the amount of orders they had. If I didn't want to see the count, and I actually wanted to see a value, I could change my drop-down menu, and I could select to see net amount total is probably the most useful. Now what I'm seeing is that advertiser spending over that period of time in a graph. Okay. So this is the data tab, and this is actually running the report. If you find you're using this report often, and you would like to save the data in a different format, or you would like to add a field to this report that is not currently on it, you can go to this User Settings tab, Columns, and now what we're looking at is the data you saw earlier, but if I move the data around now, and I save, it will save this data for my username the next time I come in. Now we showed you that moving columns the last time, but what I wanted to show you that's different in this area is adding a field. So this will probably be the last thing we kind of go over with Informer. I know this is really detailed, and you guys probably aren't going to see yourselves finding this a lot, but we're going to go over showing you how to add a field in case you want to come in and play with this. Okay? If I clicked Add a Field, you're going to see it comes up with a list of field names. Across the bottom, I can navigate to those fields. I can drill down into this and find even more fields I might want to add to this report. We find a lot of times in Informer, people use these to create commission reports, because I can look down at my rep commission percentage, create that, multiply it by a dollar figure, and actually see what my commissions are. Okay? So, like Zach said, you guys can come in here. You can grab these user settings. You can create your own reports. You can drag and drop. I always recommend starting off with a report that's always created and then editing it from there, because it's a lot simpler than trying to create a report from scratch. If you guys, I'm not sure you would, but you can export this into what we call Live Excel, where the data is actually tied to the data in the Excel spreadsheet, and then it updates Informer updates. Okay? It's good to know that you can schedule these reports. If there's a report you have to run every month and send to management, it may actually be easier to create a report and schedule it to run automatically. If you schedule a report to run automatically, it can be emailed to the person who's supposed to receive it. So it could save you guys some time if you find yourself having to run a report regularly. Okay? So our afternoon session was meant to be a little shorter today. We've gone over the majority of the reports and things I want to show you. Anything we kind of go over past this would be the advanced class. So I wanted to see, again, we'll stop and say, if you guys have any questions over at least Informer, or any questions really over anything we've covered in our training. It's kind of the open forum area. Okay. There's we'll go over one last thing if there's no questions right now, and that is, Zach, there was a question before you left at the break about creating multiple email templates for proposals. I'm going to show you at least what the question was. You can discuss it with them later.
Who do we have
So I'm going
left
to drill
on
into
the
a
call?
proposal. Great question.
Who's still on the call? Steve, you still there?
Renee.
Oh, we got Renee. Yay.
Steve is still here.
Steve's still here.
Laurel's
Anthony's
here.
Laurel's here. Yay. Okay,
Greg.
So Laurel and okay, Greg. Good. Everyone's back. Okay.
So, guys, so this export to Word button is what we were looking at, Zach.
Yes.
And under this export to Word, there are actually different templates.
Yes, and right now it's set up for department.
Correct. And I think the question was, it might be more useful. What they actually do now is they download this general template, and then each one of them kind of has a different thing they add to it. So the question was, could they have their own specific templates for, for themselves? So if I'm Salon, mine would be Salon-Greg, or, whatever it is I sell. So that was the question. I wanted you to be able to take that up with them and see if there's any questions that come up about it. I don't remember exactly who asked it.
We can look into that.
Okay.
I just need to know.
As far as a drop down, it is infinite. Yeah. If you find, Zach, when you're creating this and the drop down is getting too busy, let me know. There may be a way to say this group of people only sees these templates. That's not currently in the system, but I can see why that might be useful.
Yeah,
so if you are using this a lot, let me know. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because that could get really busy if you have 30 reps and they all have different
Yeah, it's
templates.
a very good point. I did not think about that. That'll be an
So
excellent
let me know if you guys
point.
do go that direction.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you guys do go that direction, just give me a heads up, and I'll look into seeing if we can get that security feature added.
Okay, if anyone is interested in creating or having a custom template for themselves, shoot me an email and we can discuss.
Some of the fields on the templates that we have right now are they're a little awkward, and I was talking to Ellen about it during the break, and she said that some of that stuff is pulled from the Elan database, and it may not be customizable. Is that true?
Yes.
It
Yes,
depends. Yeah, it depends on what fields you're talking about. But the data that comes from the system is very structured. Now we can a lot of times change the way it looks in Word, fonts, things like that, size. But if we don't like the data that's actually coming out, it's likely that that's unchangeable. Although I have seen some clients, decide that if they don't like a description, maybe it works really well. We thought it worked really well in a description in the system, like the Packer, but when it came out, that wasn't a good description on the thing. Actually go back and say, we need descriptions that are going to look prettier on our Word templates.
Okay, and then also another question was, and this question's for Zach, in setting up those templates, is that something that you have to be involved in, or could Ellen do the template for, like, our division?
She could do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's got the securities to upload it. That have to check on. We'd have to test, but
Okay.
there's no reason why she wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, because she would be more than happy to do that for us, so. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Cool.
Well, good. I know, like I said, I know you guys have listened to me a lot, so it's a lot to take in. If sounds like Zach may have some homework now, but if you guys do come up with any questions over the next days or weeks, just shoot them over and we'll get you some answers back. Okay? It was nice getting to talk to all of you, and I hope we get to communicate more in the future. Yeah, absolutely.
Did anyone
Thank
have
you.
any specific questions before we drop off here? Laurel, Renee?
Nope.
No, I'm
And if
good.
there's someone who'd like to see, if you'd like to see more of Informer, and maybe some other people want to drop off the line, I can stay on. Zach, or if there's anyone else who's kind of a power user who would like to see more of that, I can certainly stay on, show you guys some things you might not know about.
Angela, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Angela, Sherry, we could take a look at that issue we were going over before with the all the orders.
With the credit holds, that one?
Yeah, the credit holds and the prepaids.
I would like to. Yeah, that would be helpful because that's what I tend to ask Sherry about a lot.
Okay. If no one's got anything, because this is a great time to ask for any specific reports that you would like to see that you're not sure how to get. So if no one's got any questions like that, then we can move on to the.
I have one question. In the last teleconference or conference call, we had asked to have access to the credit notes.
To the credit notes.
The
credit notes.
Oh, the field that has credit notes in it?
The credit notes. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Brandon, you remember this?
Briefly. So there's actually another client, I believe, who's asked for this, a place they use those credit notes a lot. And so we reached out about that, and they've created it, I believe, in the newest update. And I need to talk to them about patching it back to you guys. Now, specifically, where in the system? The credit notes. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's just
we did reach out about this.
And
those do exist now. I don't think it was a securities issue, Zach. It may be something that has security on it now, but when I actually looked into this, it was something that had just not been moved over. When they moved over some of these screens, the credit notes were just not moved over. If that's what you're talking about credit notes, like credit control notes and things like that.
Well, any conversations that accounting has had with my customer with regard to outstanding payments, I would like to be aware and be able to see that.
Oh, okay. Actually, we'll go into an advertiser real quick. So credit and control notes in that sense do exist. There's a part in the system where we had to add them back, but I've just gone into a client's record, so just the CRM, and if I scroll down here, under my notes field, you can actually see I've got this credit and control notes tab. And as long as I have security to this, I will actually be able to see the credit and control notes that are going on in accounting. If I have security, I can actually add my own credit and control note.
Well, that's what we were asking for, having security to see those. Zach,
okay, I just wanted to clarify that. And you're not able to see that now, correct, Renee?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I'll double check when we hang up, but I don't believe that's the case.
Alrighty.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Renee.
That was a lot easier than I thought.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. So nice to talk to you.
Right. So who do we have left here? Sounds like nobody.
Sherry.
Angela.
Sherry and Angela? All right.
Yep.
Anybody else still on the call?
Steve?
Steve, you're still here? Steve, do you have any questions
Yeah.
you want to go over?
No, I'm overwhelmed, but I think this is very, very cool stuff.
Okay. All right, well, let's move on to Angela and Sherry's issue.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, do you remember what report that was?
I usually go through, I have, I'll tell you really quickly. So I go to advertising analysis, and then I usually pull reps by publication.
Reps by
publication?
Yeah, reps by publication. And I believe the challenge is I have a number of clients that have prepaid. Plus, I have clients with their purchase orders, I don't know, they're on credit hold or whatever it is. So, unfortunately, I don't see them sometimes listed, Sherry, and that's because they're a prepay or a credit hold, correct?
Yep.
So then the challenge is my numbers don't add up. I'm always going back to Sherry saying, oh, have we booked this activity, et cetera. So, I mean, there has to be some sort of a view that enables you to see everything that's booked.
Yes. So two things. One, I would expect that prepaid orders should show up under this confirmed status. So if when you pull this, you're not seeing prepaid orders in here, if you will get an example of an order that's missing on this report, I will track that down and find out why that's not working.
Okay, so
because
I should try to
prepaid orders should show up. Yeah, should show up under this, and credit hold orders should show up under reserve.
Okay, bear with me for a second. So let's just say I'm going to my April numbers just to see if there's something. Oh, we have to relog in.
You can compare.
Yeah,
I know.
When I looked into this originally, the conclusion I had come to was that just credit hold and prepaid orders do not show. But I don't know if we were looking at the same area.
So I'm looking in April. Okay, I think this is an example. So I'm looking up April, 2000. Oh, that was March. Oh, I'm looking up March. 1 second. But I think this is an example too. So if you look at March 2014, Modern Salon. We know for sure that there's Conair and Rusk activity, and that does not show up in my view. Sherry, are you able to see it?
Yep. And the reason is...
Okay, my view doesn't show it. So like my first...
They paid in advance. We have...
yeah, so that's an example. So my view doesn't show it. So...
Sherry, you're looking... Let's make sure that, Sherry, you're looking at the same report that she is when you see those? Or are you looking at a different report?
Sorry, my phone's ringing. No, I'm not looking at the same report.
So when you pull up this report that I'm looking at here, do you have the same number I do?
Do you want me to count them?
No, just do you have the same total just on one of them? So.
Oh, no, let me go back. Okay, so we're looking at March again. I have to relog in for some reason.
No, you're okay.
Yes, yeah, because I think the issue is that they're just looking at two different reports.
What
Right.
what did you initially click on there by the reps by pub issue? What was the first thing?
It's analysis or advertising, I believe he clicked on.
Mm-hmm. Advertiser analysis, and then 12 issue reps by pub.
Advertising, sorry. Say it again.
Nope. Advertising analysis,
Yeah.
and then like halfway down, 12 issues rep by pub. There's a long drop down.
It's really weird. I don't have that.
Advertising analysis.
He's in the CRM portion.
Oh. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, the advertising.
I rarely use the CRM.
The reports on the advertiser module are just organized differently. Bit confusing.
Okay, so we're looking at the total. What does everybody have for March 2014 modern?
Okay.
So I have 481886.
So we're all using the issue.
Oh, no.
Rep
That's
by
all
pub.
right. You're looking at my total.
Mm-hmm.
I have, just look under Angela. I'm sorry, look under A. Reich. So 135,390, right?
That's what I have.
Okay, so now I'm clicking on that, which takes me to my details, and then I click advertiser so I can alphabetize, and now this is where I don't see clients. Like I don't see my prepays.
So I sorted it by advertiser, and the second client I see is Dennis Bernard.
Right, the first one's Affleck, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I see
and
under
I'm missing
order status, it actually shows a PP'd order right there. So it actually
I know,
is
but it's
showing
not showing other
orders,
ones.
But there's some reason that particular advertiser's not showing up.
Yeah, because I've Conair, right, Sherry? Conair should show up, right? Right, Sherry?
In March, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so it doesn't, and there might be others. So this is the challenge. And then what happens is I go back to Sherry. I'm like, Sherry, did we book this? She'll always say, I booked it like in December, So it's unless I'm supposed to be looking at a different view, this is my challenge.
No. So you said Conair?
Conair, Conair.
Like the hairdryer?
That'd be one example.
Okay. So what I need to do with this is find a couple. If you'll just send me a couple of these orders, I've got Conair written down. March Modern Salon. I'll find out what is in common with them. What is it that's not showing up, and why that is. It could be there's a bug in the report that I need to get fixed. It could be there's something that this report doesn't pull on. But at least in status, I see that it's pulling some PP. So if it's not pulling a different PP, there's got to be something different about that one client. And
so I'm going to February now to try to find it. Okay, I'm going to February to try to find another.
Angela, could you see those two prepaid orders from Dennis Bernard?
I already went to another screen, so let me go back.
It's actually the CA. It's called Cash Advance. That's the one that she's referring to for Conair.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not the only one either that has this situation. They all do.
And then what about with the credit holds? Remember we had some of those, Sherry?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was more specific to, was it Redken or?
Well, I'm looking at yours in March, and Redken is on credit hold, so I bet you don't see it.
Oh, definitely. I don't see it in March.
Yeah. So there's another
But
one
actually, I saw them in February, but they were in February for some reason, so.
Yeah. In March, they were on credit hold.
Yeah. So those are some examples.
So the CH status as well for Redken, that's another example.
Sherry, did you confirm that Conair is in this issue?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep, I'm looking at. Do you need an order number? Do you need an order number or something like that?
Can you see what rep is on those orders for Conair?
Uh-huh. Let's see. Yeah, it's Angela.
So the other thing, So cash advance, I want to look at cash advance, why that's not on there, but I wanted to show you this other report. So under advertising analysis, these 12 issue do assume that they are reviews of the issue. So they will let you go into the future, but they really do assume you only want to look back. So I think the credit hold might not be on these because it does assume looking back you wouldn't want a credit hold order that didn't make it into the issue to be reported. I will verify that, but that,
no, because I'll look at it. I'm forward looking.
Yeah, I don't think that's the reason. Sounds good.
No, because I'm always looking, like I'm pulling April because we haven't finalized that issue yet. So I'm pulling to make sure that I have everything there. So I'm always looking sort of live, true time.
So, Sherry, what report are you following along here using the same reports we are right now?
No, I'm not.
Because we don't see those in this view either. What report are you looking at that is showing you all that information? Maybe she can use the same report.
I don't think
the report I was going to recommend is actually this orders by issue report that you see under advertising analysis.
Yes, that is a good one.
It's actually, so when I pulled up Modern Salon for the March issue, you can see now I'm actually looking at, I can see the cash advance, I can see the credit hold orders, prepaid, running, and then at the top here, I can sort by those values or highlight them using this different criteria.
Yeah, that's exactly what I use. I don't use that. I use this one, and then if I want to look at Angela, I put her in the current rep field.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and do that? But see, I bet your security's different. Are you logged into
Angela, give that a try and see what you see.
What do you want me to check?
Can you try to run this report, orders by issue report?
Which one?
So under advertising analysis, at the top here, orders by issue.
Okay, give me 1 second. I have to keep on refreshing it. Review orders for an issue or orders by issue?
Orders by issue. Mm-hmm.
Orders by issue, okay.
This is actually a better thing to look at, Angela, actually.
Yes, it is.
Well, then if that's, okay, so let me just do modern. Which issue are we looking at? Which date?
Do the March
I looked
one.
at the March.
March?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, okay, but no, but see, this shows everybody. How do I do for just me?
Right. So under current reps, you'll see at the top there's some sort criteria. If I click current reps,
okay, so hit
I
me.
just selected you. Mm-hmm. And then the button apply filter is what you would want.
Yeah, after you select it in that drop down, you got to click the apply filters for it to start working.
Okay, so this shows me Conair. Okay, so this is what we should be pulling from then.
Yes.
So you see it?
And I can still export it. I see Conair.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I see Conair. I don't know if I was supposed to look for anybody else. All right, so I'll use this orders by issue. So I'll just pull monthly from there.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you see Redken?
Yeah, I do. The only thing is, and I have my total, which is actually kind of nice, is because I see the net here. When I look at that other screen, I mean, I guess I see net too, but it doesn't say it's net. But here it tells me it's net 135.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've got all totals going to net now instead of any of them going to gross.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so I could just do that, and I'll just want to if Greg and Catherine don't know, I'll just want to share with them that would be the best way to pull a report as well.
Yes.
And what do we do for web, though? Because this is orders by issue. Is there an option like this?
Correct. So advertising analysis, down here, orders by website.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm going to go back and refresh it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's a huge help. What?
But the only thing about this one is that you can't do just yourself unless you export it and then, sort it by rep.
No, did you,
No.
Sherry? He just showed me how to, at the top, I can put my, I can,
No, not on the web stuff, Angela.
Yeah, this one's
He's
different.
on right
oh, not in the web?
Mhm.
Okay, so the web, where do I go for
It's-
web, though?
It's a do all, it's all of you.
He's got it
Which
open
one
on
is
the
it?
screen.
It's not order by issue, but which report is it?
Orders by website.
Orders by website.
Fourth from the bottom.
Okay, let me look.
And I use this too, but it's all of you unless you put it in an Excel sheet and then sort it.
And why is that? Why do we have it like this set up?
I have no idea.
Great question.
It would be wonderful if it could be by rep, like the order list, like print.
Okay, well,
Brandon, can you see
Maybe
if that's a possibility?
Yep, absolutely.
Having those filters there at the top for orders by website.
Orders by website.
okay, because I just pulled March, and like you said, it pulls up everybody. There's no
Yeah.
selection process up there. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
I know. That is the pain.
Okay.
Yeah, I will find out why why there's no filters at the top of this report, and maybe someone will direct me to a report that they've built like this already, which is the reason they didn't do it, or maybe they forgot and they need to add that, because I would think those reports should look more like each other.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully that report helps. I do know that there are so many reports in the system that the different groups of them assume different things, and so it's important to direct you guys to the right reports for what you're looking for.
Yeah, I pick the easiest stuff to look at, the easiest to get to. That's my whole. Unless somebody wants something specific, then I do the informer, but it's pretty time consuming.
Mhm. Yeah.
But it is cool. I mean, boy, you can get anything you want.
And that is why it's there. It is not the quickest tool to use because of how diverse it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad we got that whole worked out. That was a mystery, like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, I figured we were good.
But it's a shame, though, because you have those other reports that kind of look nice.
Right.
I don't think they're that different, but you have a whole list of them. But if it doesn't pull all the information you need, then whatever.
And out of curiosity, this advertising rep summary page, this is the other page I might want to look at. This should have publication, the issue coming up, and these should actually include those types you're talking about. So on this page, I would expect that your reserved should have your credit hold orders in it. In fact, let's see. And that your quoted, your confirmed orders would have the cash advance in it, and that your reserved orders would actually be in here.
Mhm.
So let's see. So this is kind of what you were talking about. This is all of my orders going forward. Whereas this is a really forward-thinking report, and this would just be you. This should just be the rep assigned to you. So I would look at maybe using this. If you're not trying to run the report, you just need to look at it and then drill into it, this rep summary screen. And you're going to see you're going to get digital and print on the same screen.
Okay.
Yeah. So that may be helpful.
Yeah.
Anything else, Zach, you want to look at while we're here?
I don't know. Angela, Sherry, do you have anything else?
Well, Zach, I just have a comment. I've worked with Salesforce. I mean, I've worked with ACT. I've worked with like almost every program out there.
Yep.
And I'm finding that this is a little prohibitive, as like you can't even change the address of a client. So, to be honest, I'm moving, and, I want to prioritize what I asked Sherry to do. If I could take 2 seconds to update an address because I just got to, have a communication from a client, I can cut and paste from my email and, be done. But instead, I have to ask her, can you do me a favor? Can you update this company? And, it just seems like if we're supposed to be working in it, why don't we have I understand you don't want us booking digital, but like the basic functions, so then I get turned off, and I'm like, I'm not going to, I just go back to my Outlook or whatever, because, So I don't know. I don't know if there's other things, but something as basic as editing a contact, you know, we're supposed to be trying to save time for everybody. I mean, administratively, I mean, Sherry could get really bogged down every time we're asking, you know, asking her to make these quick things, which would take us 2 seconds if we worked into the system.
Oh, yeah, I understand. That makes perfect sense. That's actually why I've decided to break the sales rep group up into 4 parts, so everyone's got their own group per division. The reason those security settings are like they are now is because we had to collaborate with all the ad managers, and there were some disagreements. In Lenexa, they had issues with their reps updating information incorrectly, and so they didn't want them to have access to that anymore. That's the reason behind that, and so we kind of all had to comply for that. But I'm going to, I do want to get it so each ad manager has their own security group so they can say how they would like their sales reps to work.
Right. And I think that you guys can change an address. I don't have a problem. I think what happened was it had to do a lot with invoicing. They were afraid that somebody was going to change an address when it was, you know, a billing address or something like that. But I don't think we have too much of that, Angela, so I think I'm just going to give
right. I mean, and it's not like I'm changing addresses every day.
Right.
But I'm just saying that could be something really easy that we should be able to
do.
do.
If you've ever got any comments like that, or you know of any other reps who've got comments like that, please let me know, because it's things like that that I need to know in order to make it better, the system better for you to use.
Yeah. And Zach, you guys have made a huge jump, so there's actually some new security as well. I'm not sure if this was in your past version, but there's actually security to say, I'm not allowed to change bill to addresses, but you may be able to change other addresses. So you can actually just lock someone out of that. We had that problem in a lot of clients, is that they didn't want people to be able to change the bill to
I hadn't noticed
actually
that.
in accounting. Yeah. So we can, and I can send you over a menu to where that goes to. But yeah, that's not uncommon either.
Okay, and then how does it work when, you know, I add a new company? I have to still alert Sherry, right? Because you have to assign me as the rep, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's just process and procedure.
Yeah,
That's
you know, all that is kind of complicated because there's a brand thing, which is really, it's very touchy with our system, so it's best that I do all the background stuff.
Yeah, that's best left in the hands of the ad manager, because they use the code of the brand to link back to your commissions.
Yeah, we don't want your commission messed up, Angela.
No. Okay.
That's why that's there.
All right, that was it for me. But that, at least, you know, I could pull that information, which is helpful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Angela. It was very helpful feedback.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, we'll tell the rest of the folks on our team so they know how to pull it as well.
Okay.
Cool. I'm glad we got that. That was a big one.
Yeah, well.
It was really frustrating to everyone. Catherine had the same thing. She was, you know, annoyed every time she went to look at that.
Oh, absolutely. You can't. If the data is different in your report than hers, it doesn't work.
I know.
Someone needs to find. Then you have to go back and find out what's missing, and yeah, that's annoying. So.
Yeah. So this is good.
I guess that's where I failed you in the ticket you put in earlier, a few months ago. I saw that you were looking at different reports. I guess I wasn't specific enough in saying maybe you should run this other report. Sorry about that.
And Zach, so a lot of this, as we go forward, you know, you guys are probably going to have a lot of business talks and questions are going to come up. Please feel free to reach out. Again, you guys did kind of take a pretty major leap in versions, so you may even ask things you didn't think were possible and just ask me if they are. It may be something we've already added. So especially if you find something that's not working the way you expect, like that report, if it's something, it's a lot different than the older version of Elan was, in that sometimes we can patch back. They'll develop it in the new system, and a lot of times we can patch it back. So because it's on the web, there's not actually custom features anymore. Everyone gets what everyone gets, but we can kind of hide them. So let me know if you guys find anything as you're talking about this, and look forward to talking with you in the future.
Yeah, I have one little question for you. I don't think there's anybody left but me. Sherry here.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi there. When you assign a rep to a new account, for some reason it shows like there's a 0%. Let me think of one that I just put in. I think it's Macadamia. The company name is Macadamia.
So under advertiser agency maintenance, is this where you're at?
Right. I'm doing it too, so. And then you go into the brand part, brand maintenance.
Yeah, actually we can get to that. Straight to brand maintenance if you wanted to, but.
Oh, yeah, I did like you did it. And then if I go to the print.
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up that same record.
Yeah, mine went blank too. That was weird. And it usually doesn't do that.
Yeah.
It usually retains the information.
Yes, it does.
Probably because there was no edits made on that. That's probably why.
That's probably it. So, okay, so we pull this up in this brand, macadamia oil.
Okay, now see there, just the other day, I realized it became a split account between Catherine and Greg. So I went in there and I put 50-50, and I don't know, it just keeps saying 0. I can't figure out.
Ooh.
But when I do the order itself, I just manually change it in the order, the heck with it. But I don't know, does it matter that this isn't right, or?
Yeah, absolutely. This should not be able to. You should not have been able to allow to save this at less than 100%.
I know, it was very strange.
This
you know, I thought, well, I don't know, maybe it's not that important. So as long as the order is right, but I thought this seems odd to me.
Nope, that's not good. I know there's actually a patch for that they need to upload to your system. So that should have been done. I'm making a note right now. No. It should not allow you to save that at less than 100% ever.
Okay. I was, you're doing everything sometimes at lightning speed, and you're like, oh, the heck with it.
Yeah, right. You're like, on to the next one. I have work to do.
You're like, oh, well, as long as the order's right, the heck with it.
It let me save it. I'll keep going.
Yeah, right. I mean, I would have probably brought it up back in one of our meetings, but I just thought, well, since I got the expert on the phone.
No, that's a bug. That's not good. We'll get that fixed for you guys, and then they usually load a patch overnight, so
perfect.
You won't even notice it.
Wonderful. Now, will she have to go in and change that after the patch is made?
Yep. The one part of the patch, it's not going to go in and try to change those for you, and if it said it's bad, exactly.
So I just go to the edit part and put 50-50, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what if, there might be one more, but I can't even think of the name, and what if I don't change it, if I can't remember who that person is? Is it going to make a big deal, or?
It's not going to make a big deal to the order. If you're using the system for commission reports, then they're not going to come out correctly for any order put against that advertiser.
Oh boy.
Because it would actually be doing it would doing the multiplication based on a 0. Now, I can, I'll talk to programming. Maybe I can have them run a report that says, show me anyone who's got a 0% commission.
Okay, I think I only have, I want to just say like maybe one other one that I just cannot think of who it was, but. So,
at least
I don't want
wouldn't be able to change them. Right. Wouldn't be able to change them systematically because I wouldn't be sure where you'd want them at, but I could at least pull your report and say, hey, I think these need to be fixed.
Yeah, at least I can double check. I'd rather double check, Okay,
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely. Well, good.
Well, I think that's it. I really appreciate all your help.
No, thank you guys. It was nice getting to talk to you. So
Yeah.
I am sure we'll be in touch in the future, Sherry.
Before we all go away, Sherry, how would you feel about your reps entering digital?
I'm still on the line.
Hi, Angela.
Well, I didn't say goodbye. I'll say goodbye. I didn't say goodbye, so I was like kind of waiting. All right, I'll hang up. Bye.
Jeez.
Smart.
No, it's, I'm sure they'd be very capable of doing that. It's just as I had, discussed with you in the past, Zach, they are just extremely busy. So, they even have me do the print orders just because.
Okay.
They're just they're moving at lightning speed, and they want to sell, which is good for us because then we get more money.
Yeah, that's fine. I know Catherine was entering orders previously, right?
Yeah, she was, but I think it just got to be with the new version. She just got, I think, kind of hung up, and unfortunately, she wasn't even on this call. So,
yeah, no. I'm gonna see if she can come to tomorrow's.
Yeah, she might come to tomorrow, but
otherwise she'll get the recording.
And Angela will put in, one, every now and then. Greg, not too much, but
okay.
It's good that they know it. So if I'm not around, at least they can do it.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe I'll talk to Elan's group if we wanna start with someone entering digital, because we can't lock them out of digital forever. We can't have you ad managers entering all the digital orders. I would imagine that would just get overwhelming.
Yeah, I think the hardest part about the digital is that you do have to, we get yearly campaigns, so we have to enter one thing at a time. So I think I can't remember the gal's name, but you end up entering like 40 different things, and I know that they would never even think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, in order to do it right,
it takes me, a long time just to do that many, like a whole year spiel. It takes a long time.
Okay, maybe when we go through our advertising training, we'll get some tips about digital order entry that we help us out.
Like maybe one or something like that, they might do it, but not a whole, big campaign.
Okay.
Now, are you getting, just a question to you guys, are you getting those campaigns in any kind of Excel spreadsheet, or is it just kind of coming over, here's what I need?
I get them in an Excel sheet, and then I also get them in a Word document a lot of times. Like they'll say, okay, we're going to run 12 of the banners on modernsalon.com, and we want to run 24 e-newsletters. It's this whole laundry list of stuff.
Right.
That actually reminds me of a question that I'm not sure who I asked. Someone was wondering, since there's so many of our reps use an Excel spreadsheet just for the regular print orders to make the proposal, they were wondering if there's any way to import that Excel spreadsheet into Elan and to create an order based off of that template. Obviously there's nothing created at the moment. And you would need some kind of uniform template so when it's uploaded it can select the correct data. But just wondering if that would be a possibility.
I wanted to look in your version because I think it's the very next version. So the print orders, we have not created anything for that. And typically we don't find, I don't get that question a ton because typically print orders aren't as complicated. However, with digital, that is not an uncommon question. I wanted to look in your version. First of all, I'm sure this has been a massive jump for you guys. Versioning now is a lot simpler. The screens are changing a lot less. If you do decide to go up to 14.1, next year. The digital module, one of the things I wanted to tell you guys about, is that's why I want to pull up the screen. We had one of our clients who was getting something like 400 to 1,000 line orders. So we did create an upload feature for digital. So there is the idea is if you have these mass digital orders coming in, that as long as they're in a specific format, you simply upload the Excel spreadsheet and it creates all of the line items.
Wow.
So for digital, we were seeing massive orders come in, which is something we had not seen in the past for print. But yeah.
Okay. That might be
so
something
that is something, yeah, and
that our ad managers should make use of, because it takes a fair amount of time to actually create it through the web here.
And would that be flexible campaigns?
Flexible campaigns, so...
Yeah, if you go to the campaign header line there, we always do the flexible campaign. We don't use the other, I don't even know what, performance. We don't use that.
Performance campaigns?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember what it is, something about billing.
Yeah, it is about billing.
How we bill.
Flexible has to do with how flexible and performance. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're using a flexible or performance campaign. You're just uploading line items. So
cool.
It doesn't care. Yeah. So, and that's the question I ask a lot of people. If you're still having, if you're getting them in a Word doc, maybe it's not as helpful. But if you're actually getting those in Excel spreadsheets, that is something that was added to the digital module in the very next version. And I know it saves companies a ton of time when you're doing massive digital orders.
Would that Excel sheet, though, have to be in a specific order for it to read it, or? It
does, but organizing columns is probably a lot easier than entering, 40 or 50 lines.
Yeah.
Also, if you, and what we see a lot of people do then at that point is say, hey, as long as I pass this spreadsheet off to the person who's creating it, typically they'll at least follow my rules somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not true, we still see that people are able to move the columns in Excel a lot easier than to actually physically enter those line items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about the other fields? Like, then you have to put the user, you have to put the name and all that stuff.
Yeah, so like the rep field and things like that?
No, under user field, I put the who at the top there right next to campaign lines. I put the...
Those are UDFs, yeah.
The contact name, the person that placed the order, like that lady.
So here?
Is the,
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, so the header, you'd still have to create this part. You still have to fill out this little field. It's just campaign lines here, where you're going to enter all of these lines for a website.
Oh,
fine. That's fine.
You would, you would actually, right, you would click upload, be able to upload the Excel spreadsheet and populate that.
Mm.
So you still would have to fill out the header for yourself and any of the small fields you normally do, but when you actually creating these orders, that's where you just go click, import, orders created, save.
And that's in the next version?
Yeah, it's in 2014.1, which was just released.
And why is it that you can't, for this company, I think on the previous screen you could see I probably had, I don't know, at least 10 separate campaigns for them. How come you can't go to let's say the very first one that I did and just click copy and just change the date, copy, change the date, that type of thing, a quick.
Like create a new campaign based off of a template?
Well, let's say I just put in month of April, and now I need to do May, June, July, August, or the whole rest of the year. And I could just do a copy at the bottom and then just change the dates to May, copy June, copy July, so forth.
Yeah, so that is actually...
Wasn't there a way to
great question.
Wasn't there a way to stage the order and then create a new one right there with the same, just by editing small amounts of data there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about there?
Yeah.
I know there's a copy for the print, but there's no copy for the...
Mm-hmm.
My bad. I'm thinking print. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That I
right.
use that. That's very nice. It's so much faster if I could just copy. Because then I don't have to fill in the user field. I don't have to fill in all the boxes. It's all done. I just have to change the date.
Right. And a lot of those features you're talking about, they rewrote the digital edition again for the next version, 14.1, and it contains the majority of the features you're asking for. They got to this version and really liked it, and when they started hearing about these huge orders, they completely rewrote the module again. It looks the same, but the logic behind it is very different. And it's
all
meant
of those,
more
I
for
had to
digital.
put in all that separately.
Yeah. And so let's see, what is this? This is So this is a month, and this is a month, and this is a month, right?
Yeah, right. Mhm.
Okay. So the other thing that's in the digital version now, which would just save you a ton of time anyways, is what you do is instead of creating one line for each month, kind of like you are now, like you have to with an issue of a publication, in digital what you tell it is this ad is going to run across this period of time, and then it breaks that across those period of time. So for one ad that runs across 12 months, that becomes entering one line item versus entering 12 line items.
Mhm.
So they redesigned how it stores that. So because this, like you said, this becomes somewhat cumbersome for one campaign that runs across 12 months to have to enter that 12 times. Digital is very different than print. Most of your ads are going to run for that period of time. So they actually, in 2014.1, that one campaign that runs across 12 months would be one line. At least how you would enter it.
All right. Well, I guess we just wait for the next round.
Would there be any? Would there be any possibility of that same idea with the Excel spreadsheet for the campaigns, for the proposals, to be used for proposals?
To be in this version, or to be in print proposals?
To be in print proposals. I think I didn't say that correctly. So
no, it's something we could certainly talk to them about. I don't know. We'd definitely talk to them about that. If it's something they've implemented on the other side, typically it's something that's not that difficult. But we would have to see what kind of time and effort's involved in getting that into a version coming up.
Yeah, because I think that might, if we had that in place where it was in a format where you could basically create the whole proposal by just uploading an Excel spreadsheet, then we could get our sales reps to start entering a lot more of these orders and take some burden off of our ad managers. Because they've already got. They've already. Well, I know a lot of them have their, or at least it would make it easier on you to, because they could just send you the spreadsheet, and instead of you having to build out the order, you could just upload it. And then
I'm all for it. Anything to save time, I'm for it.
And since I tried to talk to all of our sales reps, and it seems like just about all of them still use an Excel spreadsheet to build their orders out before they put them in the system or before they send it to their ad manager.
Yeah. I think it's easier because then they can total it and all. Where a Word document's kind of clumsy, but although a Word document looks better.
I know I have gotten complaints about the cumbersomeness of the machine or of the program, which I think they just have issues with the waiting time. Every time you select a field, you got to wait a few seconds for the next field to populate.
Call from Brad.
So.
Are you guys seeing? Is it taking a long time? Is it internet connection or is it performance in the system? Can you tell?
Performance on the system. I mean, the interconnection in the office here is T1. I think we've got 2 T1 lines coming in, so it should be that. But it's every time you update any field, it's about 1 to 2 second refresh rate before it refreshes the following fields, which is not a ton of time. It's not a lot of time.
Right.
It's not enough to complain about that single field. But when you do it from field to field to field, it does start to add up.
Yeah, and let's it's not uncommon to hear that specifically with some of those fields that are loading like that or on order screen.
Which is understandable because we're coming from working client side to working web based now. Before we were working straight off the server.
I will tell you, Zach, from a technical standpoint, in the next versions coming up with the digital module rewrite, they have found some ways to store data so that it's not querying the database every time you click one of those fields.
Okay.
So they're looking into one of those things where it queries it once, kind of pulls up what it might need, and then can display that to the user without thinking quite as much. But those are still some things they're experimenting with as they redevelop digital. If they work well, they'll be put into print and other parts of the system. But it's, from a technical standpoint, now that we're on the web, we're looking at ways of storing data so we don't have to query the database so many times, which is what takes the weight. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the client side is way better. Yeah, it was way faster. I like that. That side was way better.
Yeah, that's big.
I hated to see it go away, but now I'm used to this one.
Right. That's how it always happens.
I know. I'm like, no!
Change.
But now I got this one down pat, so.
Yeah. It's prettier. It's a lot prettier. So.
Yeah. The other one was just a whole lot faster, and I could, I have a lot of situations where I'd like to be able to change the wording, especially in digital, and the fields in the client side, they were open to us, and I could type whatever I wanted to, and now I can't. They're like closed up. I have to either put it in the rate card and just pick that name or forget it, Yeah. So I liked it when some of the fields, like the description fields, were an open field where I could type or pick from the rate card. Right. But I know that can't, I went through that. We switched over, and I know that can't be done, so.
Now, if you're talking, I need to make sure, if you're talking about like typing over an ad type or something like that.
Yeah, like, let's say they're going to run an e-newsletter. Well, let's say I wanted to call it the specialty of the day, for example. Yeah. I didn't want to pick from the rate card. I just wanted to call it something that they were going to do a one-time thing. So instead of clogging up your rate card with all these little onesie-twosie things, I would just go in there and do a one-time type over, and it was fine.
Zach, you might shoot me an email with what that is. I'm going to write it down, but you might just shoot me an email because I cannot remember if it is in this version or the very next version where you can actually do that. You can tell it this type is going to be selectable, but I don't want to lie to you, so I want to make sure I verify that.
Sure. Would you mind taking a screenshot of the page and highlighting the areas you're talking about? Send it over to me.
Yep. Yeah, I think at one time
that completely makes
when
sense.
I went over that together in the client side, and you were like, "Oh, I didn't even know you could do that," or maybe it was Connie. She had no idea you could type in those fields.
When I was working for a client, I know we used to have a miscellaneous that then when we would change to anything and put a description in. So I think that's something they put back in.
It's nice that you don't then you don't have this rate card that's 10 miles long.
Right. And I don't know if you know this on your version now, but one of the things that they did take out, which I liked, was it used to be if you put something on a rate card, a line item, that you could never take it off. Mm-hmm. And now they've made it so you can delete items from a rate card, so at least you can clean it up.
And does it affect the billing? Does it affect previous history billing if you take it off?
If it's got orders against it, you can't delete it, but you can reorder it. So you can reorganize the rate card to put things you use less at the bottom. No, but if you've entered a bunch of orders against something on a rate card, you can't. You have to delete it.
Yeah, and see, we would do that. Even on those onesie-twosie things, we would do that. We would bill an order against it, and then it's stuck there forever, and you may never use it again.
Right. Yeah, shoot me an email about that because it just sounds really familiar, and I think the last time I was training on the digital module for the new one, that was in part of my new features book. So I just want to check on that for you. It may be in yours, but it may be in the very next one.
Okay, yeah, you bet.
I want to verify.
That was one of my favorites, so I'll be zipping you an email, Zach.
Great, perfect.
Well, this has been great. See, I got my private little training session all to myself.
Yeah, right? Oh.
Well, and the good news... The good news for these kind of things is if it's not in this version, and if it's something that I can see, one, I think about this other clients would use, it's helpful. We do drive how the ad module and digital module change. It's what I'm an expert in. So in the new versions, if it's something that's not there now and I find a useful reason for it, we can even drive how it changes in the future. So even little things you think of like that, if I can talk to you about it and I can see that it's useful to other people, we might be able to get it put in down the road. So we do change this for clients all the time when we find it useful.
Okay, well, I don't want to keep you guys. I know that your time clock is ticking, I'm sure.
There was something I wanted to ask, and I'm having trouble remembering what it is.
Hey, and Zach, if it's something you think of, tomorrow, well, we can talk about it tomorrow because we still have a call.
Yeah,
but if
yeah,
it's something you think about next week, even like it just hits you on Monday, feel free to shoot me an email. And if it's something we need to just hop on a call for a couple of minutes, just call me and we'll do it.
All right.
It's not one of those things where it's like a big training thing. I'll hop on and show it to you. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Okay?
Do I have your number, Brandon?
I don't know. If you don't, I will shoot it to you in an email real quick. I'll shoot you my contact information, in my office line.
Yeah. Do you have a contact card for yourself?
Yeah, I'll shoot it over to you.
Thanks, man. All right.
Sound good?
Sounds good. We will talk later.
All right. Good afternoon. All right, bye.
You too. Thanks, man. Bye-bye.